Oregon needs to develop their backup quarterbacks. That, of course, that conversation starts with Ty Thompson, the 2021 quarterback signee, 5-star quarterback, the highest rated quarterback that the Ducks have ever signed out of high school. You guys know all of the accolades and distinctions that Ty Thompson brought with him to Eugene. But, things haven't quite panned out for him so far, at least in terms of when he has seen the field. He hasn't really looked quite ready for, those big moments. A lot of people look at the Washington game, which I think is definitely, an example, an appearance that is worth mentioning. I don't think he didn't throw any passes in that game, but we all know how it went. Bo Nix got hurt on that pivotal drive against the Huskies, and then Ty Thompson came in, and they weren't really able to move the ball. So that's a really tough spot to come in, but really it just proves that the Ducks need to develop their backup quarterbacks this year, because as of right now, this team is going to go as far as Bo Nix can take them. A lot of big time additions on the roster, whether it comes from the high school ranks, the transfer portal ranks. It really looks like this team, kind of starts and ends with Bo Nix's success. And that is because he was, at one point a Heisman contender last year. So you need to keep Bo Nix healthy. Obviously, that's a huge thing. But if he goes down, you at least need to have a number 2 that can operate the offense, move the ball, and, take care of the ball as well. And that's not really something that the Ducks have had in recent years. And it's really becoming kind of a luxury, I think, in college football. Which teams can actually have solid number 2s, solid backups that are capable of putting out an offense that has no drop off compared to the starter. That's a tough thing to do. But the story with Ty Thompson. He's, incredibly physically gifted. He's super athletic, has probably the strongest arm on that team, but the processing speed hasn't necessarily been there for Thompson. And there's other factors too, like, consistency or lack thereof in terms of a consistent offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. He came to Oregon when Joe Moorhead was the OC, and then he switched things up with Kenny Dillingham, a fellow Arizona native, and then now he has Will Stein. So this is his third offensive coordinator, which doesn't exactly make it easy to, develop as a quarterback. Those are kind of, some odds working against you. And we know that when he's gotten into games, he hasn't necessarily had the best players that he's, playing with at that time, because, sometimes they're blowouts or the game's over. But that doesn't change the fact that the Ducks need to develop their backup quarterbacks, and the other quarterback in the conversation there, along with Thompson, is 2023 quarterback signee, early enrollee, true freshman, Austin Novasad from Dripping Springs, Texas. He was an Adidas All-American, and I got to see him in person in San Antonio during my coverage of that game, and other Oregon players that were there. But he's a guy that I think Oregon's hoping can push Thompson and at least just continue aiding in his development. And who knows, maybe Novasad will be a guy who's ready to be that backup. But right now, I think we're all expecting Ty Thompson to be the primary backup. That said, Lanning did talk about Novasad's progression following Oregon's second spring practice, saying, quote, "I think he's really smart. I think that shows in the way he attacks each day and plays. I know he wants a couple plays back today, and I know he's going to be a guy that cares enough that he's going to learn from it. Excited about his progress. He throws a tight spiral, does a good job with the ball, but he needs to deliver it in the right location a few more times." So it sounds like, his accuracy may not exactly be there just yet, but I think that that's probably to be expected. I don't think that Oregon signed Novasad with any plans of him being the guy. I talked to him, and he said that he was really happy with the quarterback situation shaping up the way it was at Oregon, with Bo Nix being the projected starter. He was saying, if I'm going to sit behind somebody, for a year or whatever, if I have to bide my time, I want it to be somebody who's going to the NFL. And Bo Nix looks like he is on that projection, that trajectory as it stands right now. So I think you have some good options there in that quarterback room. Still pretty thin. You have a couple walk-ons in that room as well. Marcus Sanders is one of them. Jake Van Dyne is another. And I think it's just interesting to see how the room looks now, because I thought it might have even made sense. It wouldn't have been crazy if Oregon actually got another quarterback from the portal this offseason. That hasn't happened, or maybe it hasn't happened yet. I'm not trying to suggest that they're going after that, but when you look at the quarterback depth chart, Oregon's looking for that number 2 guy. So if they had a guy who had played some more college football and maybe had some starting experience somewhere, I think that would set them up for success. And they'd probably be feeling more confident about where they are with their quarterback situation right now, because aside from Bo Nix, that quarterback room is very, very unknown. And a backup looks like a pretty significant question mark right now. So I think that Oregon needs to develop their backup quarterbacks this spring, certainly in fall camp, but that's going to be a major storyline that we're tracking when the Ducks resume spring practice.